Oh, just stubbed my toe, Coco. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about why football vloggers are a good thing. I made a video previously talking about the bad things about football vloggers, so I need to reiterate that right now. There is a lot of negatives to do with football vloggers, and I'm very much aware of this. So I made another video addressing them about 2 months ago because I thought they are more prevalent than the positives. Then I got thinking, there's a lot of positive things. We're quite nice as a community, I think, other than some of them. But, you know, ultimately, there's a lot of positives. So if you want to see the positives, this is the video. If you're thinking, oh, actually, there's a negative to do with that positive, I've probably mentioned it in the other video. So don't come on in this video saying, no, vloggers are bad. You don't know this, you don't know that, because I probably already have made your point in the other video previously. So let's just chill. Let's get into it. Let's have a nice time and talk about positives for once, because Ellis is quite negative sometimes, even though he looks like Claire Balding. So as I like to make quite known, I was the first person to normalise vlogging on YouTube, which is obviously a very big positive if you look at how the space has grown in community in terms of size, views. You think about when I first started with this, I was getting hundreds of views at best on a video, like vlogging a game, like non-league games, like even Football League games, Premier League games, they'd get hundreds of views. Now people are getting hundreds of thousands of views, which is obviously amazing in terms of the growth. It shows there's a demand for this. It shows that we've grown into a community is actually producing content that many people want to watch. So that's lovely. So let's move on to why that's also an amazing thing for other reasons. A reason this is amazing in terms of my own channel is because a lot of the content we make is non-league based, as well as a few other big channels, but we'll talk about specific channels later on. But we're going to be talking about the fact that my channel, AwayDays, this season alone has got over 500,000 views for non-league teams and grassroots teams too. So considering the fact that the coverage of non-league and grassroots football is basically nothing at all, and if it is, it's usually just a highlights package. Sometimes BT Sport are getting better with it showing National League games on TV. However, myself and the channels that make non-league content, we often delve much lower than this, where there is no media coverage at all. So these clubs are getting media attention that they simply wouldn't get elsewhere. And as I said, my channel itself has put over 500,000 eyes just in YouTube views onto non-league content, as well as the content I share on Twitter, as well as the content I share on Instagram. So it's giving clubs that never have a voice in terms of the media space, and it's highlighting these clubs and maybe convincing people who are local to these clubs to go and check out their team too. It's literally an incredible way of platforming and giving these clubs an amazing bit of marketing that they get it completely free. If anything, they're making money because we go to the games, we pay the tickets, we pay for food and whatnot, and they get that X many views on their content. It's amazing for clubs. It's a lovely thing that our community is able to do. Another highlight for vlogs in general is the fact that if you watch a football match on TV, maybe about 90 seconds at best of the content is showing the fans. Obviously, I understand that TV and the pundits are paid to talk about football and the match and the players themselves who actually, are on TV. And it's also profitable to be talking about the players on screen rather than showcasing the fans. I 100% get that. However, vlogs are able to offer a different viewpoint because they're always done from the stand. So you're seeing a viewpoint from the stands, you're seeing a real fan's perspective of the game, you're seeing fans come together, and if it's done right, is the best way to give fans a voice during a match. Obviously there's ways that it's done wrong. This is touched on in the other video I made, so please be aware that I'm not saying it's done right every time, because it can be done very wrong and it can also ruin an experience for a fan at a game, but we're not getting into that now. We're talking about the fact that if it's done right, it can maximise the experience of people. It can also then showcase how fans react to a game, which is another point we'll touch on in a minute too, about how this is great for fans that can't attend the games too. So one of the negatives often thrown about vloggers is the fact that they take tickets from fans, which on 99% of the cases isn't true. Myself, if I go to a game, it's often because it's gone on general sale or as a special reason I've been given the ticket to attend. However, a lot of fans of clubs, I'd say at least 95% of fans of clubs, aren't at the game that you videoed. So it's a great way of connecting with fans that maybe live abroad, maybe fans that grew up watching a club and had to move away, or even worse, a fan that financially can't afford to go and watch their team. A vlog showcasing the fans and what it's like to be in the stands is an amazing feeling for them to be able to watch. I get so many messages from people telling me that they're not able to go and see these games due to their location, their financial situation, and watching our videos gives them the way of seeing the club they love in a different light, because they're able to see what it's like on a match day still and feel that atmosphere of seeing their team win and the fans react to it. Obviously, club channels are an amazing thing for this because they go to the same team each week, so fans are able to find their channel. And to be honest now, probably each team in the Football League, maybe at this point, probably has their own football vlogger. Some of them will be of differing quality and confidence on the camera, but they will develop and become very confident on the camera, and hopefully each club in the end will end up having their own vlogger that is hopefully, if it's done right, and hopefully these people are doing a great job of it, hopefully these people will be able to showcase their club and what a match day is like to the fans that aren't able to attend for every team in the Football League, and hopefully even for non-league as well, though once again it's very much harder because there's more fans of teams in the Football League than there is in non-league, and that's just natural. So obviously we've highlighted the work that we do on away days in terms of non-league views, in terms of just the views we're bringing to the community in general. So I thought we'd touch on some other channels as well, because there's some other channels that potentially do what we do better and also put a different spin on the things we do. The first one to talk about is obviously Smith. I think Smith makes the most well-polished, well-rounded content on football YouTube right now in general. I think he's making the best content there is for a football YouTuber right now that hasn't got a marketing team behind him, hasn't got another team of people behind him. It's just him producing content for passion. Obviously, I understand he makes money from it, but still, it's the best, most rounded content with his series on the road. It's ground hopping, it's what we do, but instead of himself being on the camera, it's from behind the camera, it's then narrated over, it's funny, it's witty, and it also showcases different clubs like myself in terms of non-league and the Football League, clubs that wouldn't usually get coverage, which is amazing to see. Furthermore, he also does a review system, so if people are thinking about or considering going to these games, he does reviews of teams in terms of star ratings, showcasing which teams are maybe the best in his experience, and also the teams that are the worst. So if you were considering going to one team compared to another, you might want to consider the leaderboard he has on his channel and his series in terms of which clubs you may want to go and see. It's lovely stuff. It's world class from the lad. What a guy. A great man. Next up is Stunt Peg. Neve is the voice for women in football on YouTube, and I have no doubt that she's going to work in football in some capacity within the next few years. She's going to work. It's just inevitable. She makes great content. She started off by doing vlogs. She's now branching out into doing more sit-down camera type videos, which, you know what? Whatever she wants to do, it's fair play to the lass. She's also a great voice for beating sexism in terms of football. She also highlights quite a lot that she does get sexist comments, but she's able to beat them by showing that she has a better knowledge of the game than people that are being sexist towards her. As I said, she makes vlogs too. It's great to see someone doing so well and smashing it and proving people wrong all the time. And football vlogging gave her the platform to do it. Amazing. Keep smashing it, Neve. Top lass. Next up is the biggest, most well-known vlogger, is Fogden. Whatever you think of the lad, you cannot argue that him and his dad going to a game is normalised and made cool going to football with your dad. Maybe some people have some stigma against it, and a lot of people also do tend to think that going to football with your dad is the best way to experience it. But him and his dad are doing it and getting millions of views a week doing it. It's very cool to see. It's amazing to see something that would usually have kind of a stigma behind it doing well, and it's really heartwarming to see them both having the relationship where they go to the games together. Like I said, whatever you think of the channel and whatever you think of Theo, he's a good lad, and he goes to the game with his dad. I like it. Good lad. Top banana. Also, as I touched on earlier, club channels are something that is very important to the scene and the space. However, one channel in particular I think that needs highlighting is Villa on Tour. I think they're the perfect description of how a fan channel should be. Does vlogs of the games, has a laugh with his mates, and just shows the club he loves. Obviously, last season was amazing in terms of content. Villa got promoted at Wembley. It's perfect. Like, if you want to just go watch his back catalogue, everyone's linked in the description. He's a good lad. In conclusion, I understand there are a lot of flaws with the space. However, when it's done right and when it's done well, it is a very cool thing to be involved in. It's a very big thing in football on YouTube, and the landscape is changing and evolving. And I feel like we're all kind of just coming together to make this really lovely thing, and it's going to keep growing. It's growing exponentially this season. As long as the bigger channels are growing, it's allowed the smaller channels to grow too. More eyes on the space, more eyes on football, and hopefully more eyes on non-league football too, because as I've said so many times, when it's done right, it can be amazing. Anyway, this weekend I'm off to watch Hamburg against St. Pauli. It's not non-league, it's Bundesliga 2. It's going to be mental. It's probably one of the most mental derbies in the world. It's definitely one of the most mental in Germany. It's also not highlighted as much as like Dortmund. But we're going to go smash it. We're going to have a great time. Ben Gibbs is going to take on the St. Pauli Ultras single-handedly. Absolute brick of a man. Obviously joking. Don't read into that too much. We're there to have fun. We'll see you there. See you if the upload's Saturday. Be there 6 p.m. I've got a microphone. Listen to this. How lovely is that? If I haven't said it up right, then I'm so sorry. But I think I've said it up right. Bye.